The last thing I want to talk about is you get fired up. You talked about the very beginning on pop-up retail experiences.
Yeah.
Can you just explain a little bit more, like what those are and what they have to do with TC?
Yeah, so we started working in the cycling industry with NICA specifically. Their whole philosophy is more kids on bikes. I'm super into cycling. My kids are going to be riding for NICA. So for us, it was a passion project at the beginning. They were buying stuff from us. We were selling them product. They were selling it at races. They weren't making any money. They were making sacrifices on quality of stuff in order to hit a certain price point. So I went to them and said, hey, what if we just took this over and did, like, I called it a collegiate level store on site at your races, and we just sold stuff and gave you a percentage at the end. And one league took a risk and said yes, and then 4 years later we're in 19 of those states, doing this all over the country. And so for us, I want whatever we do to add to the mission of NICA at the end of the weekend. So it's a little bit mission based, right? It's not so much, there is business to it, because I want these leagues to feel like we are an indispensable part of their weekend. Like we are one of many things that help make that weekend great, that helps get more kids on bikes for life. That's what their whole philosophy is. And so for us, we started looking at, okay, we've done the merch since people like it, but how can we bring more of an experience that kind of floats around to these different races? So right now we're in the process of building out, it's a 24-foot box trailer. The whole side of it folds down and basically forms an entire, you end up with about a 16 by 24-foot retail store on site, to where they can, you set it up just like a small store, and they can come in and shop and experience. There's a little lounge because the whole back of the trailer opens up, forms an outdoor lounge that kids can hang out in, but it won't be at every race, right? So we're hoping to build a couple of these over time. We're building the first one right now, and it will be something that pops around at different races and definitely hits their championship race at the end of the season where everybody is. So for us, it's a value add.
Are you building this? Are they paying you for it? Are you bringing this to them? Like, I instantly thought, like, oh, a shipping container could move around, and you're like, no. I'm going to make like a carnival, literally.
Yeah.
Are you financing? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so we've been traveling in Sprinter vans that are built out so our people can have an inexpensive place to stay. It's kind of nice. I say inexpensive, the vans aren't, but we've got to get to these venues anyway with all the products. So we've built these vans out that are like sleeping deck, small kitchen, living space, but under the sleeping deck is where all the tents and the product and everything is stored under the bed area. This is deeper than we've talked about before, Stephen. So,
wow,
so
that's really cool.
We've been traveling in those for 4 years, and they're great. Well, they're also really valuable, like more valuable than what we put into them. So we have actually sold a couple of those in order to finance this new thing, because we made a profit on them. So we're able, like ATC is the company, they make these trailers ready made, and then you can just take them and kit them out and wrap them and build the interior out however you want. So they're not cheap, but I think beyond just the leagues loving us, we want the teams to love us, because the team business is how we open the team stores. And if we can continue to build that out and build that up, it will be like the profit when I sell a shirt in a team store versus a profit when I sell to someone walking in getting 25 of something made is substantial. It's retail revenue, but we own the means of production. So our markup is really healthy. So I can have a much lower COGS on those sales, right? And justify kind of these larger capital purchases, because it makes us indispensable in these areas. It's a lot. Sorry, that was
no. That's super cool.
I get really excited about it because I like
I see that
numbers end of it, like figuring out, be like, oh, but we can do this, and it totally pays for itself. And the cool factor is off the charts. The cool factor is very, very high.